of Oak Hills. This is Pastor Dale with our weekly video Touchpoint. Today is Thursday, September 25th, 2025. For our Points to Ponder article, I bring us back to my reflections on the Proverbs. This is part 4. When you read the Proverbs, you quickly notice that they are a different genre of literature from the historical books like 1st and 2nd Samuel, or the Gospels, or even Paul's letters. The Proverbs are poetry, but different than the Psalms, which are also poetry. A single chapter can contain a singular focus, like Proverbs 7 that warns against the adulteress, or chapter 8 that personifies and celebrates wisdom. But then there are many chapters that seem to bounce between various topics like speech or work ethics, or the poor, or integrity in relationships. A single verse can pack a full sermonic punch. Therefore, Bible scholars categorize the genre of Proverbs as wisdom literature, and it is quite unique compared to most other literature we read. It is meant to be pondered and meditated upon. We are meant to let a verse or two soak into our hearts and reshape our perspective on life. And the Proverbs circle back on various topics to press home the wisdom of living life in the fear of the Lord. In these reflections, I plan to focus on a few of those topics that Proverbs repeatedly addresses. Today, however, I want to highlight the methodology that Proverbs commands for acquiring wisdom. In our fast-paced, instant gratification, overly entertained society, this methodology will seem foreign. The method takes practice and even discipline. But without it, the wisdom of Proverbs will never take root nor produce fruit in our lives. What is this method? It centers on our heart. Consider the repetition of the commands concerning our hearts. Chapter 2, verse 2, incline your heart to understanding. Chapter 3, verse 1, let your heart keep my commandments. Chapter 3, verse 3, write steadfast love and faithfulness on the tablet of your heart. Chapter 3, verse 5, trust in the Lord with all your heart. Chapter 4, verse 23, keep your heart with all vigilance. Chapter 6, verse 21, bind your father's commandments on your heart always. Chapter 7, verse 3, write my commandments on the tablet of your heart. Chapter 22, verse 17, apply your heart to my knowledge. Chapter 23, verse 12, apply your heart to instruction. And then chapter 23, verse 26, my son, give me your heart. This focus on one's heart throughout Proverbs tells us that the engagement of one's heart is essential for the pursuit of and growth in wisdom. Therefore, the methodology of Proverbs is the massaging of biblical wisdom into one's heart. I use that word massage to capture the activity that the various verbs used in Proverbs communicate. Incline your heart, keep your heart, write on the tablet of your heart, apply this to your heart, trust the Lord with your heart. Wisdom does not take root and produce fruit in our lives unless it is massaged into the very fibers of our hearts. Let me unpack this a bit further. Proverbs 4:23 is probably the most important verse to help us understand the significance of the heart. The full verse says, keep your heart with all vigilance, for from it flow the springs of life. Perhaps it goes without saying, but the Proverbs are not speaking about our physical hearts. Our heart, in a biblical sense, is the center of our will, of our being. Our hearts are defined by what we value and treasure. Matthew 6:21. Our thoughts and actions flow out of our hearts because we think about and do the things that we love or treasure. And then our words and our actions reveal what is in our hearts. Matthew 12, 34 and Matthew 15:19. So, our lives flow from our hearts out of what we treasure. If the wisdom of Proverbs is seeking to reshape how we live, the practicality of wisdom, the author knows that our hearts need to be reshaped first. That's where it starts. Therefore, the author repeatedly calls us to take his instruction to heart, bind it to our heart, write it on the tablet of our heart. And what better way to massage biblical wisdom into our hearts than to have short, memorable statements to memorize and ponder? This is the methodology of Proverbs. This is how the biblical wisdom of truth works its way into our hearts. It is going to take root and bear fruit in our lives if we do the hard work of keeping our hearts with all vigilance. A few things to highlight this week as we approach the end of September and approach October. We have a busy few weeks ahead of us here at Oak Hills, and I'll just highlight different items chronologically here. So every fall we have a work day and we invite everybody in the church to come together and contribute to sprucing up, cleaning up, and doing some yard work around the building and work inside the building. And we'd love to have your help, and that will be Saturday, October 4th. Mark your calendar, watch for more details to be involved with that. We'd love to have you a part of that. And then the following weekend, October 10th through the 12th, our men have our annual fall retreat. This year they're getting away to Lawrence and have an Airbnb. And we'd love to see the men of Oak Hills come and be a part of this getaway. It's an opportunity to build relationships with other men, grow in your knowledge and love for the Lord, being spurred on by one another. It's a great opportunity. Later in October, on October 25th, that Saturday, we are hosting our annual harvest party. This is just a wonderful event where we enjoy rich fellowship together, enjoy a little fun with the chili cook-off, and then, of course, we provide a trunk or treat, and we invite our neighbors to come and enjoy the time with us. Thank you for volunteering. Thank you for being a part of it. There's opportunities to serve in various ways, but we'd love for you to be there and love for you to be inviting your friends, neighbors, co-workers. Come join us here at Oak Hills for this very special event. And then I would love to have you mark on your calendar 2 events in November now. I'm going to highlight 2 now. On Sunday, November 2nd, that evening, Pastor John is going to be sharing his heart, his vision, his desire for a church plant in Kansas City, Missouri. This is something that we've been talking about now for the last year, making it known that John desires to be sent out, launched, and plant a church. And as a church home, we want to encourage him, support him, and launch him as best as we can. And it's time to begin to think more concretely. What is that church plant going to be? What is it going to look like? What does John want? And so that's going to happen Sunday, November 2nd. And then later in November, November 14th through 16th, we are hosting Ted Powers, the director of Midwest Alliance, a church planting network for our denomination here. And he's going to be hosting a conference, leading a conference for everyone in the church about evangelism. It's titled Spiritual Conversations. It's an empowering, equipping conference to help us in our efforts to share the hope of Christ with people in our lives. I'd love for you to be a part of that. So busy time, lots of different things going on amongst our regular activities, Sunday worship and Bible studies and gatherings and life groups. We want our church to be vibrant. We want our church to be active, seeking to be faithful to the Lord. Love for you to be plugged in one way or another. Well, thank you for joining me today for our Touchpoint. Look forward to being with you soon. God bless.